It's this time again in GW2's content drought, because we certainly can't call this a pipeline, that community at large gets to the inevitable lowest point in the collective mental ineptitude and starts to get overly hyped by so much as a bloody JPEG. Myself included. After all, the prospect of new content is always exciting, even if you're just being teased with the idea. That said, now that we have it almost confirmed that we receive new batch of elite specs, future starts to look a little more hopeful for our beloved brick, the warrior. Of course, I could have just overdosed on copium or on paint fumes, but I'm almost positive that's not the case. You see, the main overarching issue with Warrior's design is that its simplicity gets in the way of its performance, as Warriors simply can't do majority of the random bullshit that dictates the meta in versus modes in GW2. And its current skills, well... they work when they decide to work. Therefore, Warrior is forced to utilize cheese and broken bullshit like dual mace 100 to 0 CC chain, spear one-shot combo, or however the fuck is the shield master plus Aegis interaction called. Other than cancer, that is. All these problems originate, however, in one converging point, which is Warrior's class mechanic. Or more precisely, that it only technically has a class mechanic, and in reality it has just one more weapon skill. With lack of mechanical depth from this class mechanic, you'd think Warrior's base kit would try to compensate for it. And technically it does, but with inflated damage numbers and even more cheesy shit. And to be frank, fixing Warrior would have to start from altering its class mechanic. Guess what elite specs do? For all 8 remaining classes, new elite spec is just that, a new elite spec. For Warrior, it's a chance to double the amount of functional builds it has, by receiving second functional elite spec to pair with Spellbreaker. After all, see what adding a second button did to elevate that thing. However, there is a pitfall that we need to be wary of. Arena has tendency to either give Warrior oversimplified cheesy shit like Spear or dysfunctional trash like Bladesworn. Since Path of Fire released, every new feature Warrior got, with exception of Staff and Staff only, was hot garbage. Bladesworn sucks ass, and its design sucked ass since day one, due to Dragon Trigger literally copy-pasting the problems with 100 blades, but also backloading the damage and putting the weight of all your burst traits on one very telegraphed, easy to dodge skill that also no-regs uncomfortably often. Then we got weapon proficiency, so that 2 specs with no foundation for condi builds can use torch. Then we got Staff. And then we got Spear. You remember the original idea for Spear's mechanic was a fucking damage fall-off? And it was supposed to show off the strength with which Warrior throws the damn thing. Damage fall-off. Show off strength. Lord have mercy. There is a tangible risk that Warrior's 4th elite spec will be as poorly designed as the 3rd, and that it will immediately fall into obscurity. There is also a risk that devs will make some garbage decision, like how they ruined Spear for Berserker, or how they reworked Gunsaber to be worse than on release. But we'll have to wait and see. Holding on to the crumb of hope that feedback from Spear's beta reception was enough of a whiplash to course correct the making of Warrior's elite spec is our only alternative to going insane. And fortunately, it isn't unrealistic to assume that the peace nuke of reception that Spear received had some sort of an impact, and if Arena decides to repeat the mistake, we can just repeat the peace nuke. Therefore, understanding both the potential and the concerns surrounding the 4th Warrior Elite spec, I elect to remain hopeful. We have much more to gain than to lose, and everything will be known once the beta drops. Then we'll decide further course of action. For now, and until we get more substantial information, I declare unconditional copium crusade, and I need you to cope as hard as you can. Good luck, soldier. See you on the cope line. And before we embark on the cope train, a big sign of gratitude to all the generous supporters, considering my dubious quality content worth coping for. You're all truly welcome. Crabface out.